6 years ago, we first learned about the mob under the letter D, a fiery inhabitant of the hellish dimension. Then it was shown during the voting, and the Phantom won. Mob D was forgotten until Minecraft Dungeons was released, where its true name was revealed, Wildfire, which translates as Wild Flame. This is one of those mobs that would have been welcome in the original version of Minecraft. Surprisingly, entire statues of Nazareth and Chernite are being built in Dungeness for this creature. Wildfire is a powerful mob capable of summoning ordinary Ifrits living in a hellish fortress. There are many facts about this mob, which has never been implemented in regular Minecraft. Today we will look at what Wildfire could have become if it had been added to the game. We will also study its characteristics and the history of its origin. Sit back, Marcus is with you, and we'll start the Minecraft theory. We know all about mobs in Minecraft, but we don't know anything about a creature like Wildfire yet. It's just a picture, that's all. For the first time, Wild Flames appeared in the Hell Dimension expansion for Minecraft Dungeons. You can fight him, and he has a lot of lives. If he had been in the original version of Minecraft, he would have been able to match 7 Ifrits in terms of health. In the dungeons, he plays the role of a mini-boss in the dungeons. Although he fights in much the same way as a regular Ifrit, he has many distinctive features. First of all, he has shields that revolve around him. These are not just sticks like blazes, which revolve around the Ifrit and act as a part of his body. These are protective plates that can be broken to cause damage to the wildest flames. In total, you need to break 4 shields that revolve around him, and considering more the presence of a helmet on the head indicates a high degree of protection of this creature. It is also worth noting that Wildfire is able to restore health from ordinary fire. It is enough to stand on a burning block for the recovery process to begin. This makes him an even more dangerous opponent. Unlike Ifrits, which appear almost endlessly from spawners, Wildfire is a rare mob. There are not many of them in the entire Hell Fortress, and given the presence of a separate statue in Dungeness, it can be assumed that these creatures, no matter how many of them there are, play an important role in the game world. However, the appearance of such an unusual mob leaves many questions. For example, have you ever wondered if Wildfire could be a relative of the Ifrit, or somehow related to it? In this article, we will try to understand a little bit about the history of this mob. Upon closer examination of the fire, you can see its similarity to a regular blaze. The sticks have been replaced with shields, and a helmet is on his head. If you take it off, you can see that the faces of these two characters are identical. The helmet is made of non-leather material, which is noticeable by its natural color. There is a red stone in the middle of the forehead, which I believe was removed from Minecraft. Maybe it's a ruby. The texture on the body is completely identical to that of Blaze. Yellowish-brown iridescences. Both of these mobs live only on the territory of the Infernal Fortress, which suggests that they are different species of the same creature. This may shed light on the question of the origin of this species. In the Minecraft world, blazes appear from spawners, and only in the Infernal Fortress. This makes them semi-integrated into the fortress structure. In the entire game, spawners are only found where there are no longer any inhabitants. There are spawners underground, but they have long been abandoned. There are only traces of the miners' presence here. There are spawners in the fortress with a portal to the world of Ender, but there is no one alive here either. Everything is abandoned. The Infernal Fortress is no exception. There are also spawners and shields located on fortified areas that are built in the form of towers. It was probably done for protection, but we don't know who created them. Almost all the inhabitants of the Infernal Fortress are either half dead or completely inanimate. The only exceptions are 2 buildings. 1. Forest Mansion is not an abandoned building, but the home of the creators who are still alive. There is a room in their house where the spider spawner is located, which allows them to create new generations of these dangerous creatures. This place is located in the upper world. 2. Piglin Bastion is another exception. This is their house, which houses the Magma Cube spawner. The Piglins built a bastion and installed this spawner there to extract magma clots, which are then used in potions, creating a fire resistance potion. This potion is an important component of their daily lives. It can be assumed that they brew it both for sale and for themselves. After all, piglins are also afraid of lava, which is deadly to them. There is no doubt that piglins are also the creators of spawners. Otherwise, where did this beautiful spawner come from, neatly hung on a chain? They have created a farm based on a spawner, which means they have the skills to assemble such devices. In addition, judging by my personal observations, the material from which the spawner is made is very similar to the one from which the target is made. I don't think I'd be wrong if I said it was the same material. Piglins are skilled metallurgists. They masterfully work with iron and gold, creating various objects from these materials, swords, armor, and much more. Their skill allows them to create even chains that they actively use. It follows from this that creating a spawner for them will also not be difficult, because the materials used are the same. Many of you already realize that researching the origin of spawners in Hell is a smooth way to answer the question of where they came from in the Infernal Fortress, where the Ifrit come from. The answer to this question will help us understand what kind of creature Wildfire is. Let's be honest, no one else in the Hell dimension is able to cast a spawner, except piggies. In the whole camp, spawners are found only here and here. It is logical to assume that the piglins installed a spawner here, but why would they do that? What if I told you that the Infernal Fortress was originally their home, which they subsequently moved out of? If you carefully study the architecture of these two buildings, you will find many similarities, but there are also differences. Piglins grow a Nether outgrowth, a special kind of plant that can be found in one of the bastions. In the heart of this bastion, there is a bed with an infernal growth, and it can also be found in the structure of the Infernal Fortress. These growths are used to make potions, which are used by piglins in Hell. If that's not enough to confirm, let's turn to the chests. They contain many objects, including those made of gold, as well as items brought here from an ordinary dimension. As you may remember, piglins escaped from the ordinary world using portals scattered all over the world. They were fleeing from the zombie virus, which is present in large numbers in the air of the upper world and is able to turn them into undead in seconds. Perhaps the piglins brought all these items with them. Otherwise, how would they end up in Hell? If that's not enough, let's look at what the Infernal Fortress and the Nether Bastion are made of. The bricks they are built of are melted hellstone. Obviously, the piglins, who had recently moved to Hell, needed a house and used this material to build it. Metallurgists built fortresses from improvised materials, including the infernal stone, which, as it turned out, was under their feet. They had been involved in smelting and crafting all their lives, so fusing materials and assembling a fortress brick by brick was not particularly difficult for them. In the fortress, you can often find dead piglin zombies and their sworn enemies, the visor skeletons. They are constantly fighting with each other, which allows us to assume that the piglins were driven out of the fortress by the visor skeletons. However, that's another story. As for the spawners, if the piglins created a fortress, then they also installed them. We've already found out that they can control spawners. The Ifrits only appear here from these spawners, or on bridges, which means they are completely artificial mobs. Like the golem, they sit on watchtowers and open fire on those who pose a danger. Obviously, our player is such an enemy, so we found out that piglins consider our player their enemy. Now let's look at what Ifrit and Wildfire are made of. If you listen to the sounds that are made when hitting these mobs, you can distinguish the blows on something metallic. When killing an Ifrit, a sound similar to stopping an internal engine is heard. This suggests that the material from which the Ifrits are made is very similar to the metal from which the piglins cast the blazes. I think you've already guessed that it's gold. To protect the fortress, the piglins began casting golems from gold ore, which was abundant in Hell. Why choose from it? First of all, there is really a lot of gold there. Secondly, piglins associate gold with safety. We've seen them don golden armor more than once, and they stopped attacking us. It can be assumed that Ifrits and fireflies are highly heated robots. Judging by the smoke that billows out of them, we can say that they belong to the blaze type. This means that they are also made of gold. Blaze is a ranged warrior, and they needed a strong warrior who could withstand more attacks than the standard defenders. If Wildfire had won the vote, I'm sure it would have occupied just such a place in the Minecraft world. Perhaps he would have become a complex mob like the Ancient Guardian. and there would have been 2 or 3 of them per fortress. It would drop rare items. However, as we know, this did not happen. The Ifrit were left alone to defend the fortress, while most of the piglins moved to the bastions, and the fortress was captured by the Visor skeletons. You may ask, why didn't the Ifrit defend the infernal fortress from the Visors? They're kind of like piglin robots. My answer is that they were protected by the Visor skeletons, which were black as coal, because they had already been burned by the infernal flames of the Ifrits even before our player came to the Minecraft world. There were heavy battles for the fortress, during which the piglins were defeated. Who knows how things would have turned out if there had been more powerful blazes like Wildfire. The wild flame theory has come to an end. If you have any thoughts about this, write them in the comments below the video. It would be interesting for me to read them. Also, subscribe to my channel. Here you will find a lot of interesting things about Minecraft. With that, I say goodbye to you. Good luck to everyone. Bye-bye.